Well, hi, I'm Ben Felder, news editor of the Piedmont Surrey Gazette newspaper and PiedmontToday.com, and this is part 2 of our conversation with the candidates, in which we have a one-on-one conversation between myself and one of the 2 candidates for the Piedmont School Board, and I'm joined today with Laura King-Reed. And Laura, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. And we're going to run through some questions. Many of these questions were submitted by readers, and then we'll give you a chance to kind of expound on some issues that you might like to cover. But before we get started with the Q&A, if you wouldn't mind maybe giving our viewers a little bit of information on your background and kind of why you're running for Piedmont School Board.
My background, I've been in Piedmont for 18 years. It's the only school district my children have ever been to. The oldest is now a sophomore at OU. I have been involved with the PTO since she was in kindergarten in '97. Was PTO president for 3 years, and then I have done substitute teaching and been full-time employed by the Piedmont Elementary School. Raising 5 kids in the community and being here, I just feel like I've experienced a lot of what the school goes through, the many phases and many activities, and I'd like to go ahead and continue contributing any way that I can.
Okay, well, great. Well, let's get started with some of the questions in here. Laura, the first question is, a lot of investment has been made in the school district in terms of construction and building, particularly as the school district continues to grow fairly rapidly. In your opinion, where does the district need to invest its next building projects, i.e. high school, elementary, athletic fields? What do you feel like the next investment should be for the district?
What it should be? That's actually a hard question because there are so many things you want for your children and for your district. But I think you have to start with the needs. The very first and foremost thing is the children and their education. We've had a great growth spurt, especially in our young children. All the elementaries popping up. I think that the intermediate center is really going to relieve some of the pressure at those levels and at the middle school. I honestly think the high school is going to probably be what has to be looked at next. Those very large class sizes that are in the lower grades are going to inevitably end up in that high school, and although they're making it right now with classrooms, teachers sometimes have to trade classrooms. The hallways are crazy, almost impassable at times, so I think that's probably what they'll have to look at next. Whether that's really what everybody wants, because I think you'd like to offer the schools some of the special things that different districts have. But I think you have to look at feasibility and educating the students.
In your conversations with residents and potential voters, is there a particular area that you've heard a lot of? I mean, are people talking about athletic facilities, high schools? I mean, is there something that you feel like you've heard a lot
I
of?
think for years it's been, you have certain pockets that want a new football stadium completely, want one at the high school. More gyms. Now some of the sports and some of the arts are going to be helped out by the intermediate. Having something closer to the middle school and the high school that offers more venue for that. But I think it just depends what your children are involved with and what your passion is, then you tend to want more for that area. You know, and all of those things are so important, and we want well-rounded students, but we have to look at educating them first.
Definitely. Okay. Well, the next question is, this has kind of been a hot topic lately, is the relationship between the school district and the city of Piedmont. Most recently, the issue over a proposed sewer line that kind of caused some friction between both sides, and both sides seem to acknowledge that there needs to be an improvement in their relationship. How do you feel as a school board member the district can go about improving that relationship with the city of Piedmont?
I don't know how you improve it. It's actually a very, very important relationship. Piedmont really is the school district. That's why people move to Piedmont. And so the relationship there is just essential for it to be a positive, growing, communicative, back and forth relationship. I think that there are obstacles, just as the school board and the district are seeing in their growth, that the city is seeing in their growth. And so a lot of times it takes that own entity being in a really good place for things to work smoothly. You know, so I think that as things evolve and we face more subjects and more objects out there, that we'll just continue to hammer away at the relationship and it'll work itself out. I don't think there's anything standing in the way of a relationship.
Yeah, not one thing.
I think it's change.
Yeah. Do you feel like it is a relationship that needs to improve? Or do you feel like maybe it's not as bad as people think? I just kind of...
I honestly don't think it's as bad as people think. I think that, that's just part of society, especially small town. You get one small thing and it just expands and expands, and that you have to keep everything in perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Last question here is, what are some areas that the school district can become more efficient is? I mean, and that kind of includes all areas of the district.
Oh, I had a hard time with that one. Are we talking financially or?
Really just, what strikes you as the most pressing area to be more efficient? I mean, some people feel like we could be more efficient in the classroom. Some people may think we can be more efficient with our budget. This is a time when school districts are asked to do more with less, more mandates but less funding. Kind of how do you feel like we can...
That's the hardest part, is there are so many things you want. Every teacher we have in the district is here for our children. That is their goal. And there are things that they could use that would really help them in the classroom, would help the children through their standardized tests, would help them be prepared for the next phase in their degree. But just like even running your own home, there is that budget and there's only so much you can do with it. Right now, we're really top heavy with salary and it doesn't leave a lot of room. I think the one thing that I'd like to see not disappear is Piedmont's parents and the community have always supported the school so much. And that's where, even though a lot of the other districts make up where that the school can't provide, is the fundraisers, the donations, and you see that in Piedmont. Parents getting out there and working and doing the best that they can to help, because there's not a way to make the money go any farther than it does.
Yeah.
And I think that the school board, the district, they would all like to provide everything, that the teachers in the school want. It's not that they don't want that for them, but you have to prioritize.
Yeah. Two things that you mentioned that I wanted to revisit. First off, most recently you just said that you talked about the resource that the district has in parental involvement. Are there ways that the school board and the school district can help continue to encourage that involvement or make that involvement easier? Or
I think there are. I think even just getting the word of mouth out there. I'm not talking about special events of any sort, which, especially at the elementary level, those have been very, very helpful in years past. I just think it's a time where more parents are working. Yeah. You don't have quite as many volunteers. So you just need to keep that at the forefront. You need to try to encourage the community to stay involved. Your children may have graduated, but please still support this event or that event. Yeah. And keep that relationship going, because that is where, the school needs that support.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is you had mentioned that you had thought that salaries were a little top heavy. Would you mind kind of explaining what you meant by that specifically?
Well, we invest in very good teachers. We have teachers that have been here, and now that we have so many schools, the number of teachers we employ, and in trying to keep class sizes down and have the aides that we need in the areas that we need them, it takes up a very large part of the budget.
So is there something that you think needs to change with that?
No, I think that's what we have to do for our children. If we don't have quality education, then our children are not benefiting from the school district. So, I think that's essential.
Okay.
I just think that people in the community need to understand that it's not always just a vote on a personal choice or what you want, or that you're voting against what they'd like for you to do in the classroom or at the school level. It's to understand that, like you said, budgets are getting smaller, districts are getting bigger, and Piedmont does not have a lot of economic, stimulus out here that's helping out. It's better than it was. When I moved here, there was 2 gas stations and the diner. Yeah. So we at least have a little more coming in, but you have to realize that, there's just not a magic wand to, produce the funds that are needed.
Yeah. Economic development is growing a little faster than it was, but it's not keeping up with the growth of the student population.
Right.
So that relates to this next question is, some school buildings have had issues with traffic. Piedmont Elementary During the day, you see cars lined up on Piedmont Road. I know there's some people at the city that feel like the new intermediate school might cause some traffic. That'll wait to be seen until next year. But what can the school district do, if anything, or if they should, to help alleviate some of those traffic and congestion problems?
I don't know what the district or the school board should do. Their job is to build the buildings and educate the children. The city's job is basically the roads. I think that the district tries to work very hard with the city, and when there are issues, address them. Piedmont Road has been like that for a long time.
Yeah.
If you know that, you're in the left-hand lane, you're going through 25 at a school district, people are very courteous at all the stops and the stores and stay open for you to get in and out. I would say at this point, really the only school with a major problem is the primary. And the primary has, you know, worked hard to watch their hours, and, you know, they stand out there and try to get traffic through. They've worked with the city some. Sometimes we have police out there. Sometimes we don't. And I agree, the intermediate school is probably going to be the same as the primary, except at the primary you actually have it and the high school,
Yeah.
and all the traffic coming in and out of Stout for those of us that have multiple kids and go to the middle school. And by 5th and 6th grade, you have a lot more kids riding the bus.
Yeah.
The primary school, there are no buses that even go there, so there's no way to alleviate every parent dropping off and picking up. I think people just have to be patient and understand that, you know, school's letting out, and if you don't want to get caught in it, then don't get out at that time of day, or you know, take another route, or because it, you know, that's where the schools are, and we have to take our children's safety. We have to watch the speed limits and just be patient at those times.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that question dealt with outside the buildings. Let's go back inside. And this next question is, how can the district better support its teachers in the classroom?
In the classroom. Do you know, I honestly think that the district does a phenomenal job. I think the school board does an awesome job. You see those school board members at the schools, at the events. And I think that a lot of the support starts with your principals. And each of them just is so great with their staff. So, you know, I don't know what else that they can do. I know that when you talk to some of the individual teachers or employees, again, there are obviously lists of things that they would find improvements to their classroom or their building. But then you end up back at the budget question too.
Yeah.
And so, but I think for the most part that our teachers are very much listened to and supported. And I think you throw in PTOs and parents there too.
Yeah.
Because if there's some place where that the district can't meet the need, a lot of times you have a parent that steps up to the plate and for that individual teacher or classroom, and you have a lot of parent volunteers that will come in and help in classrooms. And so I think, you know, that would still be the school board encouraging the community and the parents to be involved.
Yeah.
But I think as on a whole, I think that they are loved and respected by the district and the board.